painting details in a landscape isn't as painstaking as you might think. If you're new to painting landscape, it's intimidating to see all the details and think about how am I going to translate all these shapes in a simplified way. The base coat is a medium sandy tone. It's the color you see the most. I blur my eyes to simplify where the highlights and shadows are. I often use a couple of similar colors in the base coat, one that's slightly lighter and another a few tones darker. I tend to bring in small touches of bright color in the base that makes sense in the color scheme. For instance, sand could have a bright yellow, orange, or even a burnt sienna in it. Shadows may have purple and blue. That little bit of color that shows through the finishing details at the later stage of the painting brings dimension to the overall effect, and it's one element of both my technique and style. Painting convincing detail is about replicating a variety of textures, and one way I do this is by contrasting focus. Some brush strokes are blended to have soft or invisible edges, while others are left so that you can see the edge. This gives subtle evidence that a painting is done with brushes and adds a bit of character. Another way I suggest textures is by stippling and using a small brush for squiggly lines and dots. I smudge with my fingers, a damp brush, or even a paper towel. Bright highlights and darkening shadows is the very last step that I do. It's so exciting to watch a storm blow in. The shadows of clouds that move across the mountains transforms the landscape in minutes. Alternating sunlight and overcast is really dramatic, which is part of the desert's magic. When rain arrives in the desert, it brings a lot of animal life out of hiding. All the creatures want to take advantage of the precious moisture. This piece is very characteristic of my style. I love playing with point of view and size and scale. Stormbringer has this really large, detailed dragonfly that would normally be a very small piece of the landscape. And then the landscape itself becomes intimate, tiny mountains and plant life. This ruby jeweled dragonfly perched atop the bare yucca branch is waiting, even willing drops of water to fall from the heavy, dark clouds. When I took the reference photo, the sunlight was illuminating the gold of the hills with this beautiful backdrop of storm clouds behind the mountains. I love using reflective paint in a piece. This is called Interference Violet, and as you view the wings from different angles, it gives the effect of how a real dragonfly's wing reflects the light. And this metallic green spot in each wing brings color that isn't used anywhere else in the painting, so it draws the viewer's eye right to that spot. signing the piece is a ritual of completion for me. I always sign my work to authenticate the piece.